Hey everyone, this amazing ESO Network show is brought to you by our fine sponsor, Amazon.com. Please remember to shop Amazon for all your geeky needs, no matter what time of the year it is. All you need to do is go to esopodcast.com/ESO Amazon, or click on the Amazon banner on the ESO Network webpage to go to our e-store. It's the best way to shop and the best way to support this program, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Okay, that's enough of me babbling for now. Now on with your regular scheduled show.
Are you ready to roll?
This is where the world of pop culture and talk collide.
I'm fine now. I'm not scared anymore. The tall man just wants to play.
This is the Adam and JP Show.
It's the Adam and JP Show, the Creepy Tuesday edition of the Adam and JP Show.
Creepy.
Some of the things that we've covered in past Creepy Tuesdays. Like it wasn't our plan to do a Creepy Tuesday every week.
Right.
Or every other week or whatever it's been. We talked about the clown phenomenon in 2016.
Yeah, oh wow. Clown Watch 2016.
Clown Watch 2016.
Yeah.
Usually was always on the Creepy Tuesday show.
Right.
During Halloween, Adam's ghost was always on the Creepy Tuesday show.
It's just meant to be Creepy Tuesday.
Had it not been for Creepy Tuesday, we never would have met Booger Jim.
It's true.
Have we talked about the Booger Jim that we have on our Twitter feed?
I don't think so. Maybe not, but we tease Twitter every week. Or Instagram.
Yeah.
Was it Twitter and Instagram? Just Twitter.
I think it was on both.
Maybe Facebook? Check out social media. We have an actual artist rendition. I know for sure on Twitter. On Twitter at Adam and JP. And you check out the actual artist rendition of the Booger Jim.
The legendary Booger Jim
Yeah.
of South Carolina? North Carolina.
South. Yeah.
Yeah. We've done conspiracy theories on here. Last week we talked about the Georgia Guidestones. We've talked about, wasn't on the Tuesday show that we talked about the signal stations?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of creepy stuff has happened on
It
Tuesday.
just seems to happen that way.
I know. So let's not mess with a good thing. Let's stay on it.
We can do that.
This week we're going to talk about FEMA camps.
Okay. No, I'm confused why this is a bad... let's roll it back before we go last week. But
What would be so bad about internment camps?
is that what that is? See, I didn't know. I took it as... So I'm clueless when it comes to FEMA. Isn't FEMA a good thing or is it not?
Well, FEMA is the Federal Emergency Management
Right.
Agency.
From what the only exposure I have to this organization at all is a friend of ours is from Louisiana, a semi-close friend of ours.
Down in New Orleans?
Yeah, a close friend of ours, and he came from after the Hurricane Katrina days, came here.
Yeah.
And he would tell me, even in as late as 2010, 2011, I believe he said his grandmother still lived in a FEMA house, building, and or trailer.
His grandmother was in a FEMA camp.
In a camp?
No, she was in a FEMA trailer.
So that was provided by that organization
Yeah.
for people who couldn't afford or didn't have those things.
Right. FEMA provided trailers
Yeah.
to many
Yeah.
of those displaced during Hurricane Katrina.
And so that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency,
Uh-huh.
or FEMA, is an agency that was created by President Jimmy Carter. It was part of the Reorganization Plan No. 3 of 1978 and implemented by 2 executive orders on April 1st, 1979. President Carter formed FEMA for government response to natural disasters and national emergencies. So here's where the first time I ever heard about FEMA camps, or because I'm like you, like, oh yeah, FEMA, because you have the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and then in Tennessee we have TEMA, which is the Tennessee Emergency Management
didn't know that.
Agency. So yeah, these are the government guys that come in during floods or earthquakes or hurricanes. Like, they're good guys, right? They're good, helpful people.
He's like a nice guy.
They're the Boy Scouts of the federal government. Well, when I went to see X-Files,
Yeah.
Fight the Future. Was it Fight the Future? I think the first X-Files movie. There's a scene where Mulder meets with a shadowy doctor in a back alley. And basically the doctor explains to Mulder that the government already has built in ways to take over the country and basically rule the entire country under martial law. His contention was that it would be done through FEMA, because FEMA is actually the most powerful organization in the U.S. government.
Oh, boy.
Now, the first point of contention that conspiracy theorists use is that FEMA wasn't formed by Congress. It was formed by Jimmy Carter in the 70s under executive orders. So that's the first. So now you have this big, powerful arm of the U.S. government that can work in conjunction with the National Guard and the U.S. military, all 4 branches. And it wasn't formed by Congress.
Mm-hmm.
It was formed by an executive order. Like a president decided to create this huge government agency.
Yeah. But there's a certain idea. Some people believe no matter what, if it's created by the government, it's going to be bad. I mean, it's not all bad. We can't say that.
Right.
But some people believe if it is funded by the government or created and backed by them, it's automatically bad.
And
we
you
should get that idea out of our heads.
You certainly have a wide range of conspiracy theorists that believe that FEMA is unconstitutional.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure.
It's totally unconstitutional. And then there's been weird things that's happened to FEMA throughout history. Probably the biggest was in 2003 when FEMA was moved from being an independent agency to now it falls underneath the umbrella of the Department of Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Bush administration did this in 2003, basically made FEMA an arm of the U.S. military. To conspiracy theorists, this is what they say.
Okay.
As I continue through this, this is what I'm going to give you what conspiracy theorists say. And then at the end, I'll tell you what I think about FEMA.
Okay.
Basically, the FEMA camp theory goes like this. There is a group. And if you look at the internet, look it up, Google it while we're talking about it.
Okay.
It seems like a large group that believe the government, using FEMA, has placed camps across the U.S. Estimates place the number between 600 and 1,000. Believers say soon a national emergency or disaster will cause the government to round up people and place them in these FEMA camps. Some for execution, some for re-education. I can't say this without laughing. Those who claim this is a coming event cite the U.S. internment camps during World War II as evidence that the U.S. government will not hesitate to illegally arrest citizens whom they seem as a threat. Which much like the best conspiracy theories have a little grain of truth in them.
Yeah. You think there's some truth to that?
World War II?
Oh,
you're absolutely.
You're saying that. Okay, I thought
Yeah.
that's what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, once the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor,
right. Oh, yeah.
the Japanese Americans were rounded up and
Right.
placed in camps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of
George Takei's family. That's his big story. He talks about it quite a bit.
Right.
In his younger days, he was part of that.
I mean, it happened. I mean, that's history. So conspiracy theorists cite that as, well, see, they've done it before, so the government won't hesitate to do it again. If they feel like there's a large group of people that are a threat, they will round them up. And honestly, dude, on a lesser extent, it happened after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of arrests made after 9/11.
Yeah.
And so you could basically say Guantanamo Bay is just, it's Camp Gitmo. It's an internment camp.
Yeah. But how many of those weren't actual terrorists? Has that been proven that those weren't actual threats?
We don't know.
Right?
See, that's the thing. We know very little about the people in Guantanamo Bay.
Uh-huh.
And very few have had public or trials that were made public. Now, the government always says it's all terrorists. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Extreme right-wing theorists use FEMA camps as the destination you land after the government takes your guns. This has been the driving force of the FEMA camp through the Obama administration, is that something's going to happen that FEMA, using executive orders that we'll talk about later, will start rounding up people, place them in camps, and take everybody's guns. I'm telling you, this is what, just go online and watch some FEMA camp videos. These camps are said to be in operation in many states, including California, Montana, Tennessee, Georgia, and the largest said to be in Alaska. It's theorized that when FEMA starts rounding up citizens, they will be placed in these camps based on a color code list that everyone is on. Red means you're executed.
Oh, wow.
Blue means you're re-educated.
Re-educated?
And yellow means you're not a threat to the government.
What would you be?
I think I'm on the red list.
So you're
pretty sure I'm on the red list. I think just by having a podcast where I talk about FEMA camps puts me on the red list.
You think so? Damn it. You drug me into this.
There are claims that dots based on these color codes have already shown up on people's mailboxes across the country.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you can go. I watched one video today where a guy has claimed to receive a red letter and a blue letter from FEMA, talking about flood insurance on his property. But they are color-coded letters from FEMA.
Wow.
And he's like, look, I got a red letter and I got a blue letter, so I don't even know which list I'm on. This comes from the globalresearch.com site, which is not as scientific as it may sound. The camps all have railroad facilities as well as roads leading to and from the detention facilities. Many also have an airport nearby. The majority of the camps can house a population of 20,000 prisoners. Currently, the largest of these facilities is just outside of Fairbanks, Alaska. The Alaskan facility is a massive mental health facility and can hold thousands of people. So there you have, you've kind of laid the base work for what the FEMA camp conspiracy theory is. So
these conspiracy theorists, do they have an execution date when this would happen?
It varies.
Yeah.
Like, right now, the hot FEMA camp theory is something terrible is going to happen before Donald Trump is sworn in.
Oh, wow. So
as president.
We have a few weeks here.
So we have a few weeks before we're all... You may be okay if you're in Hawaii.
Okay.
Because this seems to be specific to the continental United States
just the mainland.
and Alaska.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it hits the fan, I'm going to stay there. Just a heads up.
Yeah, okay.
We can Skype this in, right?
Yeah, we could do this.
Yeah.
I'll do it from my cell in my FEMA camp. I'm going to go through some of what these conspiracy theories use as evidence to back their claims that FEMA is evil in nature and that FEMA camps are evil. The first thing they cite is Rex 84, REX 84. This goes back to the Reagan administration. And during the Reagan administration, Reagan he knew that we didn't have, after Vietnam, and this is history. Reagan knew that Americans didn't have the stomach for another war, where we go in and we send thousands of troops in to a foreign land and fight a war for an unknown amount of time. Reagan knew that we would never stand for that as a country because we were too close to Vietnam. But Reagan had wars with communists his entire presidency. And what he would do is he would strategically go in and he would have short bursts of military operations like Panama and Grenada are two examples of that. But what he did mostly was fight proxy wars against the communists. When he backed the fighters in Afghanistan, when the Russians were in Afghanistan and the U.S. was secretly backing the anti-Russian, or what we call them, freedom fighters in Afghanistan, which actually, if you study that history, you'll see that a lot of the terrorist cells that ended up popping up in the late 90s and early 2000s came from hurt feelings that remained after the Russians left Afghanistan, and we pretty much pulled all our support of the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. After the Russians left, we didn't want to have anything to do with them. And then some of those groups became terrorist groups that were based in Afghanistan. Like, you remember in the 90s when Bill Clinton bombed terrorist training camps in Afghanistan? It was those terrorists.
Oh, wow.
And there are some that connect the dots to Osama bin Laden, to these terrorist cells in Afghanistan at the time. So, yeah, Reagan would fight these proxy wars. And one of the proxy wars that he fought was in Central America against the communist-backed Sandinista group, the Sandinista army in Central America. The U.S. was backing the Contras, or once again we called them freedom fighters. And there was a fear that this continued fighting might cause a mass exodus of Central America into the continental United States. So the Reagan administration developed what has been known as REX 84, which is short for Readiness Exercise 1984. An undisclosed number of concentration camps are set up in operation throughout the United States. The Rex 84 program was originally established on the reasoning that if a, quote, mass exodus of illegal aliens crossed the Mexican-U.S. border, they would be quickly rounded up by FEMA and detained in these centers run by FEMA. So conspiracy theorists cite that, once again, you have this little grain of truth here that Reagan actually did have this. Like, this came about it was just rumored, and the existence of Rex 84 plan was first revealed during the Iran-Contra hearings in 1987 and subsequently reported in the Miami Herald on July 5th, 1987. So this program actually did exist, and FEMA was involved. So since FEMA was attached to this, which was basically the government okaying FEMA to go in and round up anybody they wish and place in these camps, this is actually the genesis of the FEMA camp conspiracy theory that conspiracy theorists have in regards to the FEMA group and these supposed camps.
This is so deep.
Yeah. Like I said, the theorists believe this was the first step in the FEMA camp program being initiated. Another big development in U.S. history that conspiracy theorists point to was the Patriot Act. Following the events of September 11, 2001, Congress was quick to pass what would be known as the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was the biggest intelligence gathering initiative ever put into effect by the U.S. government. That's true. The Patriot Act does walk that fine line of being unconstitutional. I tend to believe there are a lot of unconstitutional parts of the Patriot Act. Conspiracy theorists believe this was a way for the government to gather intel on possible subversive citizens under the guise of we're trying to gather intelligence about potential terrorist cells inside the United States. Because the Patriot Act did give, I'll go through here. This is from the ACLU website. This is some of what is included in the Patriot Act. The government would no longer be required to disclose the identity of anyone, even an American citizen, detained in connection with a terror investigation, until criminal charges are filed, no matter how long that takes. Now, this is all real. Mm-hmm. Current court limits on local police spying on religious and political activity would be repealed. The government would be allowed to obtain credit records and library records without a warrant. Wiretaps without any court order for up to 15 days after terror attacks would be permissible. Now, a little sidebar here. Conspiracy theorists say that whenever the government is running out of time to gather intel on citizens, you have a quote-unquote terrorist attack that kicks this back up.
Oh, really?
And gives them more time. That they have another 15 days of spying on anybody they want until and gather as much intel as they want on anyone for 15 days, according to the Patriot Act. Release of information about health safety hazards posed by chemical and other plants would be restricted. Individuals engaged in civil disobedience could risk losing their citizenship. Their organization could be subject to wiretapping and asset seizure. Americans could be extradited, searched, and wiretapped at the behest of foreign nations, whether or not treaties allow it. Lawful immigrants would be stripped of the right to a fair deportation hearing, and federal courts would not be allowed to review immigration ruling. And this is all part of the Patriot
It's all
Act.
legit. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? I mean, it's for the good of the people, with air quotes on that, but when does it breach personal privacy?
To me, I tend to be on the side of if we start doing this sort of stuff, the terrorists win. Because that's what they want.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you're terrorizing the United States of America because you hate the United States of America, then your terrorist attacks are starting to quote Denzel Washington from the movie The Siege, it causes you just to shred the Constitution just a little bit, then I think they're kind of winning. Yeah, I was very opposed. Like, after 9/11, I understand. Like, let's get them. Let's get everybody that was involved, no matter what it takes. But now we're still living under that. Like this, it's not like they repealed this. Obama didn't repeal elements of the Patriot Act. As a matter of fact, during the Obama administration, the Patriot Act 2 came along that even expanded the intelligence gathering, and that's part of the guy that was with the NSA.
Edward Snowden?
Edward Snowden.
Okay.
See, it was when that happened that Edward Snowden decided to start getting this info out to people. Like, this is actually what's happening. The NSA is actually not just spying on terrorists. It's not what you think.
We've always thought that. I mean, since Since day one of technology, I've believed everything I write on the internet or every text message I send can be read. That's just what I thought.
And up until that point, everything on Snapchat.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, damn it.
And everything up to that point, I mean, up to the Patriot Act, and granted, in 2001, pre-2001, we weren't as active online as we were.
Right.
And we certainly weren't using for commerce on the level that we are now. And it certainly wasn't so filled with our personal data as it is now. But yeah, the Patriot Act pretty much is a clean slate to spy on whoever you want. For the past 3 decades, executive orders have been passed in the name of emergency readiness that conspiracy theorists say has given the government the power they need to round up American citizens. Would you like for me to go through some of these executive orders?
Yes, do it.
I'll try to hit. Now, these are actual executive orders, and this is just fodder for the conspiracy theorists that the government is using this, and that under the guise of an emergency or a national crisis, FEMA can go right into action and just start rounding up citizens.
That's crazy.
Now, these executive orders are all in the event of a national emergency. Executive Order 10990 allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control of highways and seaports. Executive Order 10998 allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Executive Order 10997 allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum fuels, and minerals. Executive Order 10995 allows the government to seize and control the communication media. Executive Order 11002 designates the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons. So here you have an executive order that allows a full national registry to be created.
Yeah. Now, question, was there any of this information from WikiLeaks at all? Are people creating this in their minds?
No, these executive orders are public information.
Right, okay.
Yeah. You can find these have all been released under the Freedom of Public Information Act. But these executive orders, it's not like they can tomorrow seize all seaports, but in the event of a national crisis or emergency, this is executive orders that have been passed over the last few years. This is what the government can do in the event of that sort of civil emergency.
Gotcha.
Executive Order 11004 allows the Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities, build new housing with public funds, designate areas to be abandoned, and establish new locations for populations. Executive Order 11003 allows the government to take over all airports, aircraft, including commercial aircraft. Here's one of my favorites. Executive Order 11000 allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under government supervision.
What does that even mean?
Say there is a nuclear explosion somewhere in Mississippi, and cleanup and rebuilding is basically going to take every citizen in Mississippi and the surrounding area. Then this allows the U.S. government to come in and set up a work brigade to rebuild that area.
Right.
I guess maybe a nuclear blast is a bad idea. Maybe,
yeah, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there was, like say, a tsunami. So let's say a tsunami the size of the one that hit Japan a few years ago hits California and the West Coast. And this is the truth of these. This is basically allowing the government to do these things in the event of a civil emergency of that scope. I mean, because, it's not like these executive orders have been put into action. They weren't put into action during Katrina.
Yeah.
But they're there, and they can, in the event of a national disaster. Let's do a couple more of these executive orders. Executive Order 11921 allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency to develop plans to establish control over the mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wages, salary, credit, and the flow of money in the U.S. financial institution. In any undefined national emergency, it also provides that when the state of emergency is declared by the President, Congress cannot review the action for 6 months. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has broad powers in every aspect of the nation. That last sentence was, I think, some comment or commentary that was put in. So now you have President Carter created FEMA, using FEMA as a backup plan in the event of a mass exodus from Central America. Reagan gave powers to FEMA. Under the Patriot Act, following September 11, 2001, the Bush administration, Bush II administration, gave new power to FEMA. And through the executive orders that have been passed over the last 30 years, FEMA has all the executive orders and powers they need to run whatever they want in the event of an emergency. And so that's at the crux of the conspiracy theory, is that we're on the brink of some sort of huge civil disaster that will kick all this into action. And we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what conspiracy theorists believe have been practice rounds and some of the other aspects of the FEMA conspiracy.
Practice round, huh?
We'll find out.
Next.
Welcome to Myobi Defend Your Childhood, the podcast where every week we put a little bit of your past on trial. Wait, you don't know who we are? Well, fine. First, we take a movie that you like. You know the ones. The ones the buses always had on field trips.
We got the real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam.
The afternoon animated show tie-in.
Or rewrite history. DuckTales.
Or the ones your parents didn't want you to see but you watched at a sleepover. So that's the game. The movies are 10 years old and the defendant hasn't seen them in 5. Then we ask them what they think. So, in the end, does your past hold up? Can you defend your childhood? Tune in every Thursday to find out.
Welcome back to Creepy Tuesday. We're talking about FEMA camps.
Yeah.
It's happy time at the FEMA camp. Camp FEMA.
Once again, I've always thought of that term and that organization as a very positive thing, but you're making me think twice about it.
Well, that's what the conspiracy theorists want you to do.
Okay. Always think twice.
Don't fear the monster that you can name.
Right. Oh. Good call, conspiracy theorist.
As I said before the break, a lot of conspiracy theorists believe that when there have been natural disasters that have required a large FEMA presence, these over the last 30 years, these have been practice rounds, or 40 years actually. These have been practice rounds for when the big one hits. Some of those cited are Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Andrew that required a huge FEMA presence. In any sort of civil catastrophe that FEMA has been on the scene for over the last 40 to 40 years, theorists believe this is FEMA practicing for the big one. So when they did that whole housing push following Hurricane Katrina,
Right.
that was the biggest practice run for FEMA camps to date.
Okay.
Oh,
So, can I ask a question here? A pretty broad and general question. What does FEMA and or the government or whoever's behind this have to gain from creating these FEMA camps and imprisoning people? What's the profit here?
Well, their theory is that at some point, the government will just want to, again, I want to stress once again, I don't think I can stress this enough because I feel like I'm preaching this as if it's fact. I'm just giving you what I found out through my research.
Right, yeah.
I don't believe this. This is what I found out. But I try to, present the facts as they are believed by a large group of people.
Uh-huh.
It goes down to population control, actually. That the population of the country is getting to such an extent that the government, there's members of the government, and they've been practicing for this, and because they saw the trends years ago of the spike in the population in the country. There's going to reach a time to where the secret government, this is where I once again say the words, the New World Order, members of the New, because that's who theorists believe is behind this. They believe that the FEMA camps is all part of the big New World Order global conspiracy.
Okay.
So once you have America disarmed and America submissive, then you can have the world government actually be created. Because as many weapons as we have in the country right now, there's no way. I mean, you would be foolish to attack the United States.
True. Yeah.
Because everyone has a gun.
That's true.
Everybody can fight with a weapon.
It's the Wild West out here.
It kind of is the Wild West. So the belief is the government has put these into place for when the time comes, they can just rule people not under a constitution, but under an iron fist. Mm. And that's what the theory is. That's what that's what they believe. Now, how it happens, we don't know. Could be again, they don't know. They cite a tsunami. They cite an outbreak of some sort, a pandemic. There could be various ways. They cite civil unrest. Like, these theorists have really cranked it up over the last year and a half. Every time there's been a large protest in a major city, you can go on YouTube, you can see it. They'll be sitting there with their camera, they're filming CNN, and they're like, this is it. This is when FEMA does it. You've been warned. I hope you're not on the red list. I mean, you can find these videos on YouTube.
Wow.
I mean, I've watched them today.
It's today.
And again, like going back to Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Andrew, there are beliefs that some of the victims of Hurricane Katrina that supposedly died in Hurricane Katrina didn't die. They were actually already taken to these camps. Like, these camps are already in operation.
Wow.
And they're slowly pulling submersive people out of, or subversive people out of society and putting them in these camps. Like, there's a whole theory right now that there's been a real uptick in the disappearance of homeless people over the last few years, and these homeless people are actually being kidnapped by the government and put in, you guessed it, Camp FEMA.
Wow.
In the Camp FEMA near you. And there's one very close to us.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
I'll get to it at the end.
Okay.
Because I researched and found out what it really was. There's a few more pieces to the conspiracy theory puzzle when it comes to FEMA camps. The plastic coffins. This has been a big thing for the last 10 years or so. Many have claimed they have seen FEMA camps and secret railways. Starting around 2005, stories started to pop up that the government was stockpiling plastic coffins the government would use for A, an orchestrated pandemic causing hundreds of thousands of deaths in the U.S., and B, disposal of the executed bodies of subversive citizens during FEMA camp interment. There are several videos on YouTube that feature visits to supposed storage areas for these plastic coffins. The most popular of these videos features a storage area outside Atlanta, Georgia, in the small town of Madison, Georgia. I'm going to play a little audio of this one. What you're going to hear is the voice of a man named Dale Bohannon. He's a delivery man. He's a truck driver around the Madison, Georgia area. Yeah. And one day, Dale stumbled upon something very strange.
Pulled to the side road, which was a new cut gravel dirt road in front of a business, a builder supply business, actually top-notch builder supply in Madison, Georgia. To my right, this was previously was a soybean field, and this little new cut road divided this field, and the right side of the road was filled with which I thought was portable toilets. I never looked at them that close. Same in color, maybe black, but which was an odd color. And I was sitting there going over my notes, and a van pulled alongside of me that turned out to be the property owner. And he greeted me, and he was by himself, and so we had a good little dialogue there, and I asked him about the field of black boxes. What were they? Because I'd never seen anything like that. And his statement was that if he told me, I would be one of few people in Madison, Georgia that knew about them. And he says they're disposable coffins, I believe he told me. And he says there's 100, at that time, he said there was 125,000 there. And they were stacked, he told me, 15 high. I asked him who owned them, and he stated that the CDC owned them and that they were leasing his land for storage.
There you have it, Adam.
Wow.
That's all the evidence you need.
Wow.
Plastic coffins in a soybean field in Madison, Georgia.
Now, why disposable coffins? Disposable, why is that?
Well, it goes back to A, nationwide pandemic that killed hundreds of thousands of people, and B, when you're on the red list and you go to the FEMA camp, you get executed.
Uh-huh.
And so when you see these coffins, and you can see the video, because in this video, they actually go to this field and they find the storage area and where they're stacked up. And they could fit 3-5 people in one. Mm-hmm. They got a top that goes on them, and then
what a stretch, man! What a stretch. Colors. What a stretch.
So that's the plastic coffin thing is a big part of the conspiracy theory universe with FEMA. Then Glenn Beck gets involved.
Oh no! Do we have any Alex Jones for this at all?
No,
that's good. Okay,
we have Alex Jones crying if you'd like, but he's talked about this a lot.
I'm sure.
There's a lot of Alex Jones on FEMA camps. In 2009, national radio show host Glenn Beck gave the FEMA camp theory some mainstream legitimacy when he mentioned the camps while appearing on Fox and Friends.
We don't even understand freedom anymore. We are a country that is headed towards socialism, totalitarianism, beyond your wildest imagination. I have to tell you, I'm doing a story tonight that I wanted to debunk these FEMA camps. I'm tired of hearing. You know about them? Sure. I'm tired of hearing. I wanted to debunk them. Well, we've now for several days done research on them. I can't debunk them. And we're going to carry the story tonight.
I don't know anything about them. So
it is our government. If you trust our government, it's fine. If you have any kind of fear that we might be headed towards a totalitarian state.
Wow.
So there.
Wow.
Trusted broadcasting icon, Glenn Beck, on the bastion of truth, Fox News, talking about FEMA camps and how he tried to debunk them but could not. Now, in all fairness, Beck caught a lot of backlash for this.
Did it? When was this?
This was in 2009.
Okay. Yeah.
This was 2 years into, this is when he still had his show on Fox.
Uh-huh.
And he got a lot of backlash, rethought it, and actually spent several hours on his show, radio show and TV show after that, debunking the whole FEMA camp theory. So I guess in the end, he was able to debunk it.
Yeah.
But there was a time.
He couldn't do it. And he tried hard.
Glenn Beck said he couldn't debunk it.
And he tried hard.
This is my favorite. I love this aspect of the conspiracy theory. And I think the video that I'm going to play, or the audio I'm going to play from a video on YouTube, maybe my favorite audio we've ever played on this.
Really?
In the last few years, Walmart has become a major player in the FEMA camp conspiracy theory.
What?
Because Walmart has closed and or remodeled several of their super centers over the last few years. So there's a contingent within the FEMA camp conspiracy theory community that believes that the retail giant has entered into an agreement with the U.S. government to use some of these closed super centers as sort of mini FEMA camps. I have a video here from YouTuber going by the name ADM Trainee on YouTube. You can see the full video here.
Okay.
He realized that the Walmart near him was starting to close. He knew the government's up to no good. FEMA's got to be involved in this on some level. I'm going to go to this closed Walmart and see what I can see what I can find. So I'm going to hide a camera on my sunglasses and walk around like I'm just minding my own business and see what's going down at the FEMA-run Walmart. Here's my favorite part of this video coming up.
Store temporarily closed. Look at all the cameras they set up on this thing, though, now. Jesus Christ, why? I ain't seeing nothing but cameras, man. That's some security system you got working here, guys. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Wow. Wow.
You ever been to a Walmart Supercenter?
Oh, yeah, of
There's
course.
cameras all over the place.
Yeah.
When he's when he's looking at these cameras and saying this, it is the security cameras that you see outside every
Everywhere.
Walmart Supercenter in the country.
Wow.
And he goes inside and he tries to get around, and then like there's like construction stuff up, and please don't go past this point. We're remodeling, and he's like peering through. I bet you're remodeling. I know the truth.
Is his site, his YouTube channel still going?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
ADM Trainee.
Wow.
Is the YouTube, and it's all one word. ADM Trainee.
Okay.
So there you have it. There you have basically all the tentacles that make up the FEMA conspiracy camp, or FEMA camp conspiracy theory. That's what my camp's going to be called, Camp Conspiracy.
Camp Conspiracy, yeah. So what are your final thoughts? I mean, not final thoughts, but what?
Well, let me do this.
Okay.
There's been a lot of debunking over the last few years. Many news sources, including Popular Mechanics, have published articles debunking the FEMA camp theory. So I'm going to go back through some of the stuff that I mentioned.
Okay.
The camps themselves. Many of the camps shown online are not even in the U.S. One of the most popular photos is in fact a prison camp in North Korea that's been doctored to say it's somewhere in the Pacific West. Most other of these camps that you see are just U.S. military training facilities, such as the one that is supposedly in Nashville, is a training facility for the Tennessee Guard. So what they do is they go out and they find any building they can with a barbed wire fence around it. They snap a picture, put it online. See, FEMA's opened another FEMA camp. Now, there are some areas, like when we talked about the FEMA trailers, there's areas where they park these trailers. So you do have aerial photos of FEMA trailers in a big field. Yep, see? There you go.
There it is.
I bet you're remodeling. The secret railroads that they talk about. Several of camps that have been shown to, quote, have secret railroads leading in and out have been proven to actually, in fact, be Amtrak repair stations.
Oh, man.
With cameras out front. And finally, the plastic coffins.
Yeah. What were those?
That old Dale down in Madison
with the colors
was so convinced we're being used by the CDC. No. Further investigation of those very coffins that he's talking about have proven they are not plastic FEMA coffins. They are grave liners. Liners that are used in burial to protect burial vaults. You see these used mostly in areas where flooding is a possibility. That exact case in Madison, Georgia, the land wasn't being leased by the CDC or FEMA or any government agent. When they went and actually did the due diligence and investigated this thing, it was being leased by the company that makes the plastic burial liners to put in graves to protect from flooding. You dig the grave, you put the liner down, thus why they're so big and so deep, and then you can actually place the vault inside the liner. So if you're in a flood-prone area, you know, grandma's not floating down to the Mississippi at some point. So, and it actually helps keep the ground around the grave, in place. These liners do. So there you have it. So in my opinion, this whole, yes, does FEMA own housing of some sort? Of course they do. They've used them following Hurricane Katrina. I mean, there's still people, well, I don't know still, but I know as of like 4 or 5 years ago, there were still people living in their FEMA trailers provided after Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah. Like I said, as late as 2010, one of our good friends' grandmother was still there.
Yep.
In the trailers.
So,
wow.
Do I believe that my name is on a red list and I'm going to be rounded up?
I've been Googling this whole time, FEMA color coding on mailboxes and letters they've received.
So just give me some of the ideas of some of your opinions of what you found.
I think it's total BS. Where I can kind of see globalization may not be a bad thing. This is a terrible thing.
You don't want to be rounded up and placed in a camp?
No, it's not good.
It's not real.
Yeah. It's such a stretch. That's a big stretch. Some people want to see such negativity and just think of bad things that could happen. They create these scenarios in their head like this.
Yeah. Like, these theorists wanted to find a field full of plastic coffins that's going to be used by the CDC when they release the zombie virus on the country. or whatever pandemic they release.
Yeah.
That's what they found. That's what they found. You know, this guy wanted to go to Walmart and see something to convince him that the government was secretly going to use their Walmart to imprison them at some point.
Uh-huh.
He found a bunch of security cameras out front. That was his evidence. And you can read into anything. So yeah, I'm putting a big X through the FEMA camp.
Debunked.
It is debunked. Is it bunk or debunked?
Debunked.
It's debunked.
Wow.
So there you have it.
Like I said, I've always heard that as in a positive term until tonight. Learned that not all FEMA things are in the positive light, but I still believe it to be a positive thing.
It's the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Yeah.
It was. If there has been anything nefarious about FEMA, it is that Rex 84. That FEMA, when it wasn't even FEMA. I mean, FEMA was going to be used, but so was the National Guard and the Army.
Right.
To round up possible, undocumented citizens running across the border when we were in a proxy war in Central America.
Yeah.
In the 1980s. Yeah, that's a little nefarious. Do I like all the authority that's been given the government and the NSA through the Patriot Acts? No. But I don't think it's part of a FEMA plot to imprison me at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I'm telling you, go look. Go look on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just the videos. Go read Infowars.com.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to, like when we do Creepy Tuesday, there was a couple of sites that I want to go to and just see what they're talking about when we do Creepy Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I went to Infowars.com today. A lot of the anti-fake news postings. Because, since the Pizzagate incident, which, by the way, I guess, this revival of Creepy Tuesday started with the whole Hillary Clinton being a Satan-worshipping pedophile story.
The crying Alex Jones.
And it all started with us just making fun of Alex Jones.
It did.
These news sources, Infowars, these other news outlets, what's been called the last couple of days, last week or so, the fake news sites, which I think is dangerous. I don't like that. I will say I don't like that. I think when you start, and look, I don't believe any of that. I don't believe any of that. I mean, we love to talk about it and make fun of it.
Yeah.
And is it fake news? Yes, but I think it's very dangerous to start going around and labeling your fake news and your fake news and your fake news. Delegitimizing any sort of press can be dangerous. So, unless, it's like the KKK newsletter or something like that.
Right, yeah.
So Pizzagate came from that whole Podesta email thing that we were talking about. And you see what happens? Mm-hmm. One guy believed it, and he took a gun to a pizzeria in Washington, D.C., believing there were tunnels underground leading out of that pizzeria where they would take children as part of the Clinton Satan-worshipping pedophile cult. Mm. And he believed that. And this guy's married with kids. Wow. And he, he took his AR-15 to that pizzeria in Washington, D.C.
What happened? I didn't hear the full story on that.
From what I read, at least one shot was fired, but not at anyone, and the police were quickly there to arrest him. Uh-huh. But that's why he was there, because he believed what he read. He believed the imaginary dots that were being connected by people like Alex Jones, which is that is dangerous. That's just as dangerous as calling news outlets fake news.
Oh, yeah, that is, yeah. Calling people to physically act on these beliefs you've put in their heads.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And then I also went to Coast to Coast AM to see what they were talking about today. And the big story on that site was I believe a Latin American astronomer has discovered what he believes to be towers on the surface of Mars.
Man.
Like some sort of humanoid-built towers on the surface of Mars. That those in the science community are just scoffing and saying they're rock formations. But when you go see the pictures, they are kind of lined up. He claims
I believe in
towers.
crazy stuff, but it's just too much of a stretch.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I know. Maybe there could have been apartment complexes on Mars at some point.
It's possible.
You don't know. There could be smokestacks. We don't know. So what would you like to see covered on Creepy Tuesday going forward?
Yeah, let us know. I don't have anything in mind, but let us know.
Yeah.
Tweet at Adam and JP, and we'll talk about some Creepy Tuesday fun.
Just make sure you tweet, like, today.
Yeah.
when you hear this, like the closer you get to Thursday, the less
Yeah.
likely we are to do it.
Right.
Because it takes some time to research.
I'm sure, yeah.
Because a lot of stuff I know, and I even found a book that's a list of some great conspiracy theories that I'll probably pull from. But I like doing, like, I enjoyed researching that.
Really? Yeah.
Even though it's complete bullshit, I still enjoyed it. It was interesting. But yeah, tweet us at Adam and JP. Tell us a conspiracy theory you want us to investigate, or you send us an email. AJP at Adam and JP. Email me, JP at Adam and JP.
Yeah, do it.
Email Adam.
Adam at Adam and JP. Our personal Twitters at Adam of AJP, and yours
at JPatrick2100.
There you go.
Do it.
Every single way to contact us. Let us know what you want to hear.
So to wrap up today's show, anything that you've looked up over the last week or so? Did you go to the Globalist website?
I did, yeah. I looked some more into that.
What did you discover?
The term itself is good to me, but the actual globalists themselves, a little bit off the rocker.
A one world government?
Yeah. Once again, it's a FEMA. FEMA is a positive thing. Globalism, in my eyes, is a positive thing, but taken out of context and taking stretched to the max is insane. Anything can be turned around negatively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think
clowns are meant to be positive? It's a good thing, a good symbol.
Oh, I forgot.
That
all makes perfect sense because you were so pro clown.
See?
Whatever happened to that?
I don't know. It
died on Halloween.
It wasn't even a fade out. It just stopped.
It just stopped at Halloween.
Yeah.
Did you notice? After Halloween, you never heard about it again.
That's true. Let me look that up now. The Clown Lives Matter movement.
Yeah. Have there been any clown sightings since October 31st?
Weird.
Other than Election Day in America?
Weird. I don't think so. No, the last stuff, it was in October for the clown news.
Yeah, see, it was just being built up by the media to do like Halloween stories and stuff.
That's crazy.
It was never as bad as it was being made out to be.
Yeah.
What should we do next week?
Well, the people can speak on us. What if they want? Yeah.
In case nobody tells us.
Just in case.
I want to have some. Well, next week will be like our next Tuesday show.
It's our last show of the year.
Is our last show of the year. So.
Do we have audio to play on the off weeks from the Grand Old Game Room Expo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We do.
Can do that.
I could do a best of 2016 show.
You sure you want to do that? What else I got to
do?
Because I'll be in Hawaii. You'll be in Florida. We'll be busy.
Yeah, I think when are we going to come back? Third week of January.
Third week? Taking a whole month off?
No, second week.
Yeah. Are you going that
second week of January?
Are you going the first week of January?
Yeah, it'll be tough that first week.
So we'll have almost a whole month of no recording.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big break.
And then we'll come back with a vengeance.
That's not good.
Speaking of which, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, you went on a long vacation once and came back and almost didn't come back.
Well, that's not going to happen this time. But we'll have shows.
Yeah.
We just won't be recording.
Right.
And I think maybe Josh is going to sit in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
On one.
He should.
Yeah, I think so. Kind of like what we did for him.
Yeah.
I think Josh from Collection Connection is going to come on.
Nice.
But speaking, I think after the first of the year, we should reach out to members of the Adam and JP audience. Because there's certain things that I would like to see happen that I just don't have time to do, like Facebook.
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking that maybe we do an outreach program after the first of the year. And you can go ahead and let us know if you're interested. Send me an email, jp@adamandjp.com, because I would love to have someone I trust, running our Facebook page. You don't have to put it up a few posts a week.
Right. We've had a few people in the past, but
right. That's the thing. If you're gonna do it, you have to be dedicated.
Right.
It can't be fun for a couple of weeks and then just I never hear from you again.
Right.
Like I've lost friends over the Facebook page because since they're not posting on the Facebook, they don't talk to me.
Yeah, they're just embarrassed.
Yeah. So there's really no reason to be embarrassed. But yeah, so we're thinking about doing stuff like that. Maybe if you want to find some stories for us, like maybe a producer position of some sort.
We've had many producers throughout the years as well.
We've had many producers.
That's fine.
But Josh went on to host his own show.
He advanced. He got the promotion.
Right. He got his own show.
Producer Brian is off somewhere, God knows where.
It would really help if you were involved in podcasting on some level to begin with.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Or have any interest to begin that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I believe everyone should have an interest for that.
So I'd love to bring on, and this would be a cool way to meet, for us to meet you, get to know you, and make you part of the team. But we have to. There'll be a long vetting process,
right,
before credentials are handed out.
Yeah.
But I think I do want someone to run Facebook, Twitter, help us find stories.
Because we try, but it's just not. It's tough.
Yeah, I'm just terrible at it.
It's tough.
I mean, I can do this all day long. I can record. I can edit. I can put fun things together. I can find audio. I can do all that. It's the actual the text-based stuff I suck at.
Yeah.
And I'll admit it. I mean, it's a very weak point.
It's tricky.
So if you want to be part of the team, help with social media, help with promotion, and maybe help with producing on some level. And I'm serious. I'm serious. We won't start until after the first of the year. Go ahead and send an email now. Email me now, jp@adamandjp.com. You have to send an email for this, jp@adamandjp.com. Go to adamandjp.com. You can find the links there as well.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, that would be fun to get more people involved.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've teased having more people in studio, even Skype interviews and stuff like that, just to kind of to change up the vibe of the show every now and then, at least once a week. Because, we do the show twice a week.
Yeah.
I don't know any other podcast that does that.
And it does 2 episodes a week?
I don't think so. We're breaking the mold here.
We are breaking the mold.
Yeah. You got to keep it
only
fresh.
the good ones do it twice a week.
Yeah.
The fun continues at adamandjp.com.
Of course, like we said, on facebook.com/adamandjp. And we also said as well, Instagram and Twitter at adamandjp. We can email me, adam@adamandjp.com, or jp@adamandjp.com.
I'm Jay Patrick. That's Adam.
This is the Adam and JP Show.
Face Sealer.
This has been a production of the Adam and JP family of on-demand talk radio.
AdamandJP.com.
Right now.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network, your station for all things geek, classic, current, and beyond. Be part of the crew at ESONetwork.com.